The NASCAR silly season is set to take an unexpected turn. The racing world is bustling with rumors and suspicions about a potential game-changer entering NASCAR on a full-time basis in 2024. So who is this mystery driver prepared to upend the competition? Could it be the fearsome Shane Van Gisbergen, with his incredible racing heritage and unrivaled road course abilities? Join us on NASCAR Zone as we explore the thrilling world of NASCAR's newest sensation. But before we dive into that, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Over the weekend, the buzz around SVG racing in NASCAR intensified as reports suggested that he might join NASCAR in 2024. Red Bull recently released surprising news that indicates Shane Van Gisbergen's aspirations for a full-time NASCAR ride may come true sooner than expected. While Shane has been successful in the Australian Supercars Championship, winning the series championship 3 times in 2016, 2021, and 2022, driving the number 97 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 car for 888 Race Engineering, Red Bull Ampol Racing, his NASCAR debut with Trackhouse Racing's number 91 Chevy was nothing short of remarkable. Shane's exceptional performance at the Chicago Street Course, where he dominated NASCAR veterans from the very first practice laps and ultimately claimed victory, has won the hearts of the NASCAR community. After his triumph, he returned to his Supercars championship endeavors, committed to racing in the series until the 2024 season. However, Red Bull's recent announcement has fans captivated, as it seems to suggest that Shane Van Gisbergen's dreams of a full-time NASCAR career might be closer to becoming a reality than anyone anticipated. The specifics of the news from Red Bull's stable are yet to be disclosed, leaving fans eagerly awaiting further updates on Shane's future in NASCAR. Adam Stern's tweet, sharing the speculation from V8 Sleuth about SVG's departure from the Supercars series, ignited a flurry of comments and anticipation. Fans couldn't contain their enthusiasm, expressing their support and anticipation for SVG's NASCAR venture. Some fans cheered, saying, "Let's go SVG," and foreseeing him joining Trackhouse full-time in 2024. Many fans were hopeful that SVG's association with Red Bull would extend to NASCAR, with comments like, "Bring Red Bull with him," "NASCAR needs that sweet caffeine drug money," and "Simon over, brother," and "Bring that Red Bull sponsorship with you." The idea of Red Bull's return to NASCAR garnered excitement, with fans expressing their hopes for SVG's involvement in bringing the brand back to the sport. One fan exclaimed, "Wow, that would be awesome if he could help bring Red Bull back to NASCAR." While we've previously discussed which team SVG could race for in the upcoming season, a pertinent question arises: how well would he perform in stock cars? Despite his victory in his first career start at the Chicago Street Race, it remains uncertain if he can replicate the same success on the diverse tracks featured on the NASCAR schedule. As we look at the next-gen car, it draws inspiration from various racing series, including the France Family Sports Car Series, IMSA, and Australian Supercars, both of which SVG has raced and triumphed in. With an impressive track record of 80 wins and 3 championships in Australian Supercars, SVG has also demonstrated his prowess in IMSA, securing a second-place class finish at the 2015 Rolex 24 at Daytona in the GT Daytona category. In essence, SVG is no stranger to handling stock cars. Should he decide to venture into a United States racing series, NASCAR appears to be the most suitable destination. Choosing NASCAR would not only provide SVG with the opportunity to participate in more races, gain significant exposure, and use a familiar race car, but it also presents challenges that he will need to adapt to beyond just the car itself. One of the main adjustments SVG would face is getting accustomed to the tracks in NASCAR. Australian Supercars mainly race on road courses and street circuits, meaning SVG has no prior professional experience on ovals. This could pose difficulties for him when it comes to oval racing. The experience of past Supercars drivers transitioning to NASCAR, like Marcos Ambrose, serves as a cautionary tale. Marcos Ambrose competed in the NASCAR Cup Series for 6 full-time seasons, from 2009 to 2014. Although he achieved 18 top 5 finishes, 9 of them were on road courses. His performances on ovals were notably weaker, with no finishes higher than 18th in the point standings. Oval racing demands an entirely different set of skills compared to road courses and street circuits. While SVG's expertise on those tracks played to his advantage at the Chicago street race, NASCAR drivers could exploit his lack of experience on ovals. The big question is whether SVG could excel on tracks like Martinsville, a short track, Daytona, a superspeedway, or Las Vegas, an intermediate track. This remains uncertain and would require significant time and effort to adapt. However, SVG might have an advantage over Ambrose in terms of the teams he races for. Ambrose competed for teams like JTG Daugherty and Richard Petty Motorsports, which were not top-tier equipment providers, even back then. On the other hand, SVG could potentially secure a seat with a more competitive team, such as Stewart-Haas Racing or even Trackhouse, the team with which he achieved victory in Chicago. This better equipment could positively impact his NASCAR journey and career. SVG's biggest adaptability challenge in NASCAR lies in whether he can master racing on the typical tracks that the Cup Series frequents week in and week out, or if he will remain primarily a road course specialist. One crucial aspect SVG must adjust to is the style of racing in NASCAR, which significantly differs from other motorsports. NASCAR racing is more aggressive, with increased car-to-car contact, and this aggressive nature can be tough to adapt to. Even experienced drivers like Jenson Button have been surprised by the level of aggression displayed by Cup Series drivers after racing at TOTA. While Australian supercars share similarities with NASCAR stock cars, NASCAR explicitly encourages and embraces that type of contact as a part of the sport. Those who embrace this aggressive racing style or use it to their advantage often find success. SVG's experience in supercars may make it somewhat easier for him to adapt to NASCAR's aggressive racing compared to drivers coming from Formula One or IndyCar, but it will still be an adjustment. Additionally, many NASCAR drivers grew up racing on short tracks, shaping their mentality and approach to racing. Whether SVG had a similar upbringing and mentality remains uncertain, adding to the complexity of his adaptation. Moreover, SVG will need to adapt to the drafting style of racing seen at tracks like Daytona, Talladega, or Atlanta. Mastering this type of racing can be even more challenging than on the short tracks. What do you think? How well would he perform in stock cars? Let us know in the comments section below. And be sure to hit the bell button and subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates. But talking about his latest win, why Shane Van Gisbergen isn't eligible for the NASCAR playoffs. Despite Shane Van Gisbergen's impressive win in Chicago, his standing in the NASCAR Cup Series standings doesn't hold any significance for the playoffs. As a part-time driver, he won't be eligible for one of the 16 spots in the NASCAR playoffs. The reason for this is straightforward. Only full-time drivers are eligible to compete in the postseason. Although Van Gisbergen is a full-time driver in other racing series, like the Australian Supercars Championship, his part-time status in the NASCAR Cup Series means he won't be considered an official postseason contender. This doesn't rule out the possibility of him making more Cup Series starts this year, especially on road courses, where he might suit up for Trackhouse racing again at venues like Indianapolis or Watkins Glen. For bubble drivers like Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, and Alex Bowman, Van Gisbergen's win doesn't negatively impact their playoff chances. Bowman's finishing last in the race might have hurt his standings, dropping him to 20th, but it doesn't directly relate to Van Gisbergen's eligibility or ineligibility for the playoffs. The playoffs are solely determined by the performance of full-time drivers in the Cup Series throughout the season. As for Van Gisbergen's future in the NASCAR playoffs, it remains a possibility once he completes his Supercars commitment at the end of the 2024 season. Should he decide to make the jump to NASCAR full-time or on a more regular basis after that, the team owner, Justin Marks, could be laying the groundwork to make it happen. Depending on his performance and future plans, Van Gisbergen could indeed become a potential contender in the NASCAR playoffs down the line. If SVG decides to make the move to NASCAR, it will undoubtedly be intriguing to see how he adapts to the series. The transition might not be as seamless as his impressive performance at the Chicago Street Race, considering the unique challenges posed by the diverse tracks and the aggressive style of racing in NASCAR. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.